Hey folks, this is Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, and tonight I'll be talking to my good friend Josh Paterson, and we'll be going through some of the new sales trends, or basically just some of the trends in general he's seen at the 2017 Interbike. Alright folks, once again, welcome back to Bike Chat. I've got my good friend Josh Paterson from BikeRadar on the show tonight. Josh, thank you so much for joining the show again.
Absolutely.
It's good to have you. I haven't talked to you in a little while. You've been all over the place, dude. You've been busy. I've been sending you emails, and you're like, Gene, I'm here, I'm there. You're a very busy guy. Seeing some pretty cool stuff out there in the field lately.
Yeah, it's been a busy summer between companies having their individual product launches, followed by Eurobike and then Interbike. There's a lot of new stuff to talk about.
Awesome. Well, folks, tonight, as always, actually, Interbike was the reason why Josh was actually on the first episode that we had together, because us regular guys, again, we can't always get to these events, and it's nice to have nice folks like Josh that are willing to jump on the show and give us their insight on what they've seen at Interbike, and specifically things that kind of would pertain to regular guys. And on this show regarding 2017 Interbike, he's going to talk about a few of the trends that he's seen, and just some cool stuff that he thought might be kind of cool for us to know about. And that being the case, I am going to hand the mic over to my friend Josh.
So this year we've seen a lot of companies roll out coil suspension products. It was something we saw in the early days of mountain biking, and it started to make a comeback. You're seeing coil shocks as well as coil forks. Part of the reason for this is that enduro racing puts a lot of wear and tear on components.
Gotcha.
Essentially, you're doing a stage race of downhill racing back to back with no time to service the shocks.
Mm-hmm.
So these racers are willing to take a slight weight penalty for a little more reliability. That said, today's air shocks are fantastic,
right,
but coils can have benefits. They deal with heat better.
Okay.
They are more durable. And they can, in some instances, have better small bump sensitivity, which can equal better traction. So
Gotcha.
That's some of the reasons you're starting to see them again.
Let me ask you this, because I've seen the introduction of air shocks for downhill bikes. So I've also seen them move the air shock the shock into high end. I've even seen some of these shocks on bikes at the Red Bull ramp. I mean, I haven't personally, but they took a look at the interview, the guy's bike.
Yeah.
So I guess my question would be, where do you think that's going? And the second part to the question would, of course, be, if we did have coil springs and they went more to air, what are they changing on these shocks to make them? You can't just go back to the old way and say, because it's more than just a couple ounces. They must be doing something with these shocks to make them still really be what they want to go for. Or is it just the technology is that much better now?
I mean, coils have come a long way as well as air shocks. You see air shocks on downhill bikes because, weight is now really important.
Right.
You see them in Red Bull Rampage more as just showcasing that they can take that kind of abuse.
Okay.
When it comes to, some trail bikes you're seeing spec'd with coil shocks these days, like some of Specialized enduro and stump jumper models.
Really?
Come equipped with Öhlins coil forks and shocks, just because it's something that once you try, it has a very unique feel that some people really like.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so you're seeing new suspension forks from MRP, like a coil version of their enduro fork.
Okay.
Cane Creek, same thing, a new coil. And then Push Industries, who rolled out the 11.6 shock 2 years ago. They have a coil kit for the Fox 36 fork and RockShox Pike.
Wow.
So you can basically just drop that in, remove the air spring, and put a coil in there. So you can kind of just convert. If you've got one of those forks, you can convert your existing fork into a coil.
So they're converting air back to coil again. It comes full. But you know what, too, man?
Full circle.
The bikes are getting so amazing and so efficient when it comes to weight that I think you're able to pick your battles now. You're able to get these amazing bikes that are just a lot lighter than they used to be. So you can say, you know what, I'm saving so much weight because this is better and that's better and this is lighter, that I can, like you added before, I can maybe add a couple ounces here in exchange for the feel that I like because I kind of took it off over there. So now a rider can really, really tweak these bikes to fit their needs. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And another benefit for, the regular guy is that these service intervals on coil shocks tend to be longer than air shocks. You have fewer seals to deal with. So, yeah, where you might need to, if you're following manufacturer's recommended guidelines, you need to service your, air fork twice a season. You can, or more, if you're really a stickler for that stuff. You can definitely get a full season on a coil.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, it's something we have to look more into. Quick question, price, are they still basically priced the same? I mean, are you saving money going back to coil now, or is it's really not really part of the deal?
Actually, I mean, coils, part of the problem with coils is the fact that, if an air fork is too stiff, you let air out.
Right.
If it's sagging too much, you add air. With a coil fork, you're swapping springs. So if one doesn't include all the weight of the springs that you need, you're gonna have to buy a different one. Gotcha. So there's some cost there. I mean, as far as positioning, they're positioning those forks as premium products. So yeah, you'll pay a fair bit just like you would for an air fork.
Okay. All right. Well, still, at least you know what you're getting into, and you really can tweak your suspension. There's just so many cool suspension gadgets out there now that are allowing you to, even the regular dude, to really tune your suspension as Joe Blow guy. There's some really nice products out there now, and this is just one more avenue for you to tweak your suspension. That's pretty hot.
Well, absolutely. And if you're one of those people that has been kind of intimidated by suspension setup, and you're worried about, did I lose air? Do I need to add air? With the coil, it's, once it's there and you basically have the preload set, that's how it's going to be.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it as much.
That's true. Cool. All right. So what else did you see over there at Interbike that you think might be kind of cool for us?
Well, one brand that wasn't at the show but did release their products just before was Mondraker. It's a Spanish mountain bike company. Okay. They've been around since about a decade or so. Actually, 2001 I think is when they started, so longer than a decade. Okay. And they started as a gravity-oriented brand and have kind of moved into enduro racing and then onto trail bikes and then into XC. So they've got a full line of bikes. They've been pretty sought after in Europe, but have finally made the jump to this side of the pond. So they're starting to make inroads into the U.S. market. Now,
I think is it Canyon? Isn't that another company that's coming over here? So, what makes Mondraker just get on your list right now? Is it just something that is so popular over there that you think is going to be hot over here, or is it just one more company coming over to the U.S. that you just think is someone to know about? Is there anything particular about this company? Because, like I said, Canyon's doing that. There's a bunch of companies that try to do stuff like that, and what makes these guys special?
Yeah, Mondraker is definitely a company that should be on folks' radar. It's a brand that, as you're seeing, it seems like every new bike that comes out, we're talking about how it's longer, it's slacker, it's lower. Well, this is one of the companies that kind of pioneered that approach. Cool. Back in 2012 when they kind of released their forward geometry, which they had really stubby stems, shorter than what you see today. In fact, they had to place the stem on top of the steer tube because it was so short. We're talking like 10 centimeter stems. Yeah, and very slack for the time. They've kind of, because of fit issues and whatnot, they've kind of relaxed that, so they design around like 30 millimeter, 35 millimeter stems. Okay. What separates them from Canyon is, Canyon is consumer direct. So just go to their website, click on the bike you want to buy, and shows up at your door. Gotcha. Mondraker is taking a different approach. They're creating a dealer network, so you'll still go to your local bike shop and order them through there. And because they think they have a fairly unique story as far as design and geometry, that kind of they want to be able to explain that. The bikes do kind of handle a little differently.
Cool. I'll have to keep an eye out for them. Maybe see if I can do some bike demos and maybe some reviews on their bikes and give them a shot and see. Folks, if any of you guys, I know we've got some international folks on the channel. In the notes down below, have you tried this bike before? Anyone own one of these bikes? And, you know, seen them around here yet or anything like that? I'm kind of curious because, you know, the channel's getting bigger, right? We're getting there little by little. So it's starting to broaden out. And there may be some folks on the channel right now that actually have a Mondraker bike. So I'd be curious what their thoughts are. So I'll definitely keep my eye out for that brand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think we had one more topic you thought might be interesting to talk to the folks about, which is one that, you know, I'm kind of partial to, but I'll let you intro the thing over there. And what else are we talking about?
Well, one thing that you couldn't miss at the trade shows this year was e-mountain bikes.
Bum, bum, bum.
They were, especially at Eurobike, but also at Interbike, they are everywhere this year. So you see a lot of rollout from manufacturers introducing their first ones, like Pivot just launched their first e-mountain bike. And kind of around that same time, Shimano launched its North American version of its E8000 motor, which is like an XT level motor for e-mountain bikes.
Wait, so there's Bosch, there's Yamaha. So Shimano is it their own, or are they rebranding somebody else's?
No, this is developed in-house.
Oh, cool.
It is designed to go toe-to-toe with anything from Bosch or the other, you know, big names.
Okay. Interesting.
So I spent a couple days riding that this summer. It's one of the better systems, and I don't have as much time on motorized mountain bikes as some other folks, but it didn't feel as unnatural as the few others I've tried.
Okay.
And I think Shimano has a leg up in the fact that you know, they design drivetrains,
right?
So they know how to make things kind of intuitive, especially just the levers. You know, it's a one-by system, but they still have a shift lever on the left side that operates which mode you're in.
Oh, cool.
As one Shimano employee said, it's their insidious plan to bring back
the two
front shift levers. Well, they brought back the lever, which is as far as they're probably going to get.
Yeah, because I don't want to go back to that. But that's funny.
It makes perfect sense. It's the best in terms of like feel that I've used. So
now, what bikes are we going to see that on? What bikes are we going to see that on? Because they don't make bikes.
No. Pivot uses it, and I guess there'll be more rolling out this spring.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, folks, look, here's the deal, folks. Don't anybody get angry at me. I was not a fan of high bikes in the beginning. Not high bikes, e-bikes. But not because I tried them and I didn't like them, because I wanted to be the purist, and I said, no, high bikes. I keep on saying high bikes. I'll tell you why I say that so much. I kept on saying no to e-bikes because I thought I was supposed to. Then I tried a high bike, that's a brand of e-bike, and I actually liked it a lot. My buddy Craig from Diamond Cycle kind of said, Gene, just give it a try, give it a whirl. I had a good time, and I've actually become pretty good friends with the dealer Chris, the high bike rep over here on the East Coast, and I actually had a bike meetup. And a lot of the videos coming out, a lot of us, the second half of the meetup, we all took e-bikes out. And you know what? I think the regular guy needs to remember that we do this to have fun. We ride bikes so that at the end of the day we smile, we laugh, we have fun with our friends, and we enjoy ourselves. We have limited time, we just have fun. At the end of that ride, everybody had fun. Okay? I don't care what we were on. We laughed, we joked, we fist bumped. You know, it was a good time. So we were on an e-bike. We didn't hurt anybody. We didn't misrespect the trails. We waved to everybody just like we waved to everybody on our regular mountain bike. So I'm not trying to preach for them because I don't want to turn this into that type of thing. But I am not terribly surprised that Josh said that. I'm not surprised you're saying, Josh, that you're seeing more of these out because we're just trying to have a good time. We're busy people, you know? Now,
sure, and they certainly come with a host of access issues.
Yeah.
And that's something that's going to be played out probably over the next decade, because land management agencies don't move very quickly to respond to change.
Right. No, you're right.
So, we'll see. I mean, at the time being, it seems like it's all over the map. I mean, different states, different land management agencies,
You're right.
different parks within
Yeah.
the same state can have very different restrictions for e-bikes.
You're right.
So I think the thing that people need to keep in mind if they're looking at purchasing them is, before you even think about that, do your homework and find out where you can ride.
Good call.
Are your favorite trails, are you allowed to use a motorized vehicle, because that's what it is, it has a motor, on your local trails? If they're banned to motorized access, then you should err on the side of caution.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That's something bike companies need to keep that in mind too when they're selling them. They need to be mindful of, like, well, maybe some dealers in some areas shouldn't stock them because there's nowhere people can ride legally. Yeah, but it's a patchwork right now.
Yeah, no, that's very true. To your point, I did have to check ahead of time to make sure the trails that I ride on were okay, because as a channel, I don't want to be recommending something and showing people that I'm riding a bike someplace that's not allowed. That's not good for anything. I don't want to hurt the e-bike industry, and that would be pretty foolish on my part to do something like that. So you're right, folks. If you're going to even invest in this, you should make sure you can even use it, right? And that makes a lot of sense. And I think there's a lot of responsibility on the bike shops. I think you're right, and even think of it that way, Josh, to make sure that they're not pushing something that you can't use. I mean, what good is that? You're going to get it, and then basically have to bring it back and say thanks, but I can't ride it anywhere,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a problem we've had locally here, kind of in the Front Range of Colorado. Yeah. Because my local trails are not open to e-bikes. So there's always companies that want to host demos and whatnot, and that's not an option for them to have their e-bike fleet in some of the places I ride.
Right. Well.
So yeah, as long as the brands, the dealers, and the buyers are all mindful of these access issues, then I think we'll be okay.
Just one more thing on the topic, though. Other countries. So again, I live in New Jersey. I've got a very small view on how this looks outside of my area. Very mixed opinions over here in Jersey. But you have a much broader scope on this. So what's it like in other countries when it comes to this topic?
It's not an issue like it is here.
Really?
In most parts of, like, we'll take Europe, for example, because that's where this giant e-bike push is coming from. It's just another bike. It's just another way to get around.
Right.
So, and if we're talking about bikes in general, in Europe, you're certainly seeing them as car replacements.
Yeah.
If we're talking about mountain bikes specifically, you have the ability in like Germany, Switzerland, to ride basically from resort to resort to resort. And so with an e-bike, that allows you to climb up, because the Alps are steep.
Yeah.
They're very steep. Yeah. And so that's part of the reason people there really gravitate to e-bikes. Is it's, instead of riding the gondola up, you can ride your bike up and then have fun down the next mountain and so on. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, folks, look, number one, understand, folks, it's regular guy mountain biking. It's not regular guy e-biking, okay? But part of my goal here is to introduce my subscribers different things that might make you happy. Part of your responsibility is to leave some comments and tell me what you think. Let's be PC about this, because there may be some folks that already own e-bikes that are watching this channel, and there's no need to hurt anyone's feelings. But if you have an opinion, that's why I don't ever filter out any of the comments down below. There's been some pretty harsh things that I've had to read that I had every reason to delete, but I said the minute I delete any comment, people will no longer feel the freedom to post what they feel. So tell us what you think. Do you want me to even get into this more? What did you hear about? What do you think about what Josh just said about it not being an issue in other countries? Why do you think that's the case? Because, look, it's not, these aren't little companies. I mean, Giants got them, Trek's got them. Like Josh said, Shimano is investing in this. So people like these, and I want to know your thoughts on it. That'd be pretty cool. That's some pretty good stuff. So you had a good time at Interbike? I mean, I know. How much fun do you get to get? Just buddy to buddy over here. You know, I mean, yeah, I'm recording this, so you got to be correct. But I mean, Interbike probably isn't the same for you as it is for a guy like me that's walking around with a bag and trying to fill it with stickers. I mean, you're kind of working pretty hard.
When I went as a shop employee years and years ago, it was a lot more entertaining because you're on the hunt for stickers or free stuff. And when the show's over, you can go out and have a beer with your friends and be chummy. Right. No, I'm up before the show, putting together schedules and writing. And after the show till about midnight, doing the same thing every night. No. It's not a very glamorous gig at trade shows.
All right.
But you get to see a lot of new product, and you get to have some really good conversations with some really smart people. So, that's awesome. Yeah, it's worth it.
Well, you know how much we appreciate you coming on this show. I mean, you're a busy guy, and I just want to make sure I just say that again and again because, you know, I don't always get access to folks that have this kind of knowledge and can share this information with us. So it just, you know, I don't want to, you know, but it means a lot to tell us what you know at these places. So I do, you know, I try to do the bump thing over here and thank you for
just bump through the screen.
Yeah. I just want to really thank you a lot for joining these shows with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I always have a good time.
Cool. Well, folks, as I mentioned before, I'd really like to get some comments on what you think. It's just important for me to get your 2 cents. And as always, if you like the video, you know, kind of give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends, check out some of the other videos. I'm going to have some of the other videos that Josh has been kind enough to do with us linked somewhere around there, and you can click on those and check them out. All right. Keep the party on the pedals. Josh, thank you very much, and we'll catch you later on.
Thank you. Take care.